Yo, today I'm going to show you my 5-step Facebook ad copywriting framework that you can use to create ads for local businesses that convert like crazy. Now, as I've talked about many times on this channel before, my go-to Facebook ad strategy is to simply go onto Facebook ads library, find ads in your industry that are already performing well and model those. However, that's not going to work every single time. Although it is my go-to, and although 90% of the time I will find success using that method, there is still that 10%. And actually, it was a couple of years ago while I was running and building my first agency, Wilson Media, that I had an anomaly client that I worked with. And see, because I didn't niche down and because I didn't do a lot of the things that I should have been doing back in that time, I ended up taking on a client in an industry that I had no experience with. And as a matter of fact, they were a digital security client. Now, after I onboarded this client, I began to scavenge the Facebook ad library and I couldn't find any ads that resembled this client's offer. And so what I ended up doing was I took another company that was kind of similar and they were running a kind of similar offer, and I modeled that. As I set up the ads and I hit publish, it was a flop. With my back against the wall, I began to read every single marketing book and listen to every single marketing podcast and watch every single marketing YouTube video that I could possibly find talking about copywriting. And this is when I went into the phase to learn the fundamentals of copywriting, and I started to study the greats such as Dan Kennedy, Russell Brunson, and what I ended up learning is a new formula that works extremely well in the info product world. But I took it, I changed it just a little bit and applied it to local business. And when I did this for my digital security client for the first time, the results were insane. So now there are 5 key elements to this Facebook ad setup, and I'm going to break down every single step for you. So the first one is the creative, and actually this takes me back to another client that I used to work with at my old agency, and they were a local martial arts gym. And what I was doing is I was running Facebook ads, and in the beginning of our contract, I actually went to their gym and I created some high quality professional looking ads, and then I brought them back, I launched the ads, and the results were good. They weren't great, but they definitely weren't bad, and they were good enough to keep my client happy. But what ended up happening was 1 month turned into 2 months, turned into 3 months, and the ads began to fatigue. Everybody in their local area had seen the ads before, and so that's when I contacted them and said, hey, I need to come back to the gym to film new ad creatives. But this was right around the time when COVID was hitting their gym and they were at risk of having to shut down. So they didn't want to invest in having a videographer come and make a bunch of content. So what they told me is that they would send a video to me. And I said, okay, that is fine, but here's what I am looking for. And 1 week went by, nothing. 2 weeks went by, nothing. And it wasn't until almost the 3rd week where they finally sent me the video back, and at this time our ads were not doing well. And I was thinking, with the risk of COVID and the ads not performing, this client is done. And then they sent me the ad, and as they sent me the ad, I looked at it and it was one of the worst ads I had ever seen. The entire video was shaky, and at one point the owner's finger was in the video. And my first reaction was, oh no, we can't use this isn't gonna work. But I also had no choice. My current ads were not doing well because they were so fatigued, and I knew how long it was going to take them to get me a revision. I said, screw it. I put up the ad, and it was the best performing ad I had ever run for that gym.
What?
And the reason why it performed so well is because it did not look like an ad. It looked like an organic video with a bunch of kids doing martial arts, and because of that, it resonated with the people on Facebook, and so they engaged with the ad. They took the time to read the copy, and when they took the time to read the copy, it was a more natural progression for them taking the desirable actions that we were after. And so that is why when it comes to your creative, you want to create very organic looking ads, ideally selfies or raw videos from the local business owner themselves, or iPhone photos of them and their team work super well with local business ads. So my recommendation would be to contact your client, or if you are the business owner yourself, go out and take some organic raw videos from your iPhone. They do not need to be professional, and use those as creatives. We want to blend in with the content that is already being shared on Facebook and Instagram. Now, the second element is creating the hook. And actually, couple years ago, when I was looking for help with my agency, I came across an ad that spoke directly to me. The headline of the ad was "Attention Agency Owners Making 10 to 20K a Month." And when I heard that, I was instantly drawn in to this ad. And I ended up clicking the call to action. I ended up watching the VSL, and then I ended up spending the equivalent of a luxury vehicle on some random guy on the internet's program. Now, none of that would have happened if the hook wasn't so direct and so actionable and really spoke to who I was and my current situation. And that is why when you are creating your hook, you want to make it super specific and super actionable. So examples of this are attention 26 to 37-year-olds in city name. Attention 2-story homeowners in city name. Attention parents of youth hockey players under the age of 18. These are examples of super specific and actionable headlines that when somebody is on Facebook or Instagram and they see that, they will be instantly drawn into your ad. Now, the next element of a high converting Facebook ad is to induce a story. Now, if you were to know me personally, you would know one key thing about me, and that is that I hate watching movies. Another thing about me is that I have a girlfriend, and although my girlfriend knows nothing and has no interest, she's not an entrepreneur, she knows nothing about business, that's just not, she's a student, and props to her, but she also really likes to watch movies. So as you can imagine, there's the occasional conflict of I want to watch a movie and I don't want to watch a movie. Makes sense, right? But what happened is about a year ago, I was learning more about ClickFunnels. And ClickFunnels has this really cool documentary series where they tell the stories of all the people who have gone on to make $1 million or more inside of ClickFunnels. And I made an offer to my girlfriend and I said, hey, guess what? I'm down to watch a movie with you. And she was like, oh my God, like finally. And I was like, yeah, this one. And it was a business one. She's like, okay, if that's the only movie you'll watch, we can watch it. As I loaded up the content, I realized right away that this was a long drawn out VSL, but I was still curious and I didn't want to tell her. So we ended up watching this hour-long VSL, and during this VSL, it was literally just story after story after story. And really what happened is after hearing story after story after story, she got sold on the idea of ClickFunnels. And that was when I realized that if stories can sell my girlfriend on becoming an entrepreneur, well, they can sell anything to just about anybody. Now, I know I talk about stories a lot on my channel. Now, when we're creating stories in our local business Facebook ads, obviously we don't want to write an entire book because nobody's going to read it. So in order to create a successful story in 1 to 3 sentences, you only want to include the backstory, whereas where you set the scene, you can introduce the conflict, which is the problem that you were trying to solve or the problem that you did solve, and then the journey that you either on or went on. Now, the next part to a successful Facebook ad is to have a good offer. Now, I apologize if what I'm about to say here comes across as a pitch, and if you're really afraid of getting pitched by some scammer on the internet just like me, close your ears. But RSC has gone from literally 6 people on a Zoom call to over 500 members in 5 months. And that growth didn't come down to some wild Facebook ad or some gimmick or some crazy sales ability. It came down to our ability to create irresistible offers. You know, our first client challenge is a 100% free challenge where you place a $100 deposit. If you stick to everything, you get the money back. That's a pretty irresistible offer. We give you your first client for free. Our agency accelerator, we take literally everything that you could possibly ever need to scale to 6 figures with your agency and shrunk the cost dramatically. RSC, we put you in the room with dozens of 6-figure and sometimes even 7-figure agency owners and let our members soak up information from everything that they have learned for $297 a month. And that is why having a good, solid, strong offer is super important in your marketing. So my recommendation in order to find and create good, strong offers is to leverage Facebook. And that is to go onto Facebook groups and engage in Facebook groups with your audience, right? So if maybe you were targeting homeowners in a local city, it would be a reasonable thing for you to join one of those neighborhood Facebook groups and listen in on the conversations. And as you're listening in on the conversations, you want to look for things where they talk about problems that they have, things that they're struggling with, things that they don't like. Now, marketing sales is very similar to dating, and it's the sense where you wouldn't go up to somebody and ask to go on the date on your first conversation. So instead of using call to actions that insinuate a lot of sales resistance and insinuate the prospect needing to take a big step like sign up now, buy now, purchase, you want to use a more neutral language call to action such as learn more. And if you can position your call to actions in a similar fashion, you will see a major increase in results. All right, so that is the 5 key elements to creating successful and high converting Facebook ads. Now, what I'm going to do for you guys is I have actually taken the time to take everything that I just talked about, put it into action, and create a live example that I'm going to walk you guys through right now. All right, so I've loaded up Facebook ads library and I've created an example ad using the lawn care example that I was just talking about. So coming in to the headline or the hook, the offer, attention Smithville homeowners. So obviously Smithville is just some made up neighborhood that I came up with, but imagine you're a homeowner in Smithville. You are probably going to listen and to read what this is about because they literally called out exactly who you are. Now, the copy. 2 years ago, my brother and I started a lawn care business to try and pay off our student debt, right? That's me introducing the backstory and introducing the problem at stake. Today, we stand here debt-free, having cut thousands of your neighbors' lawns, right? That is the journey that they went on. Now, we're going to make the offer. As a thank you to the neighborhood that has done so much for us, we want to offer 50% off your first cut of the 2023 spring season. So as you can see here, we have the hook right off the bat, and then it's the backstory and the conflict, the journey, and the offer. This is what this looks like put into action. Now, the headline is Students Give Back 50% off lawn care, right? Reinstating the offer, reinstating the story and the description, claim your 50% off lawn cut. Now, the creative, what I did here is I found a raw organic creative. Now, disclaimer, I found this off the internet to give you guys an example. Do not do that, okay? Do not go onto the internet and take somebody else's content. You can get in a lot of trouble. Instead, get your client to send you a raw image, but this is an example of something that would work extremely well. All right, so that is the breakdown as to how you can create high converting Facebook ads. My hope is that with the time that you invested into watching this video, you got at least 10x the value in return. And if you did, I would encourage you to hit that subscribe button because 2, 3, 4 times a week, I'm sharing everything that I know that helped me go from 0 to 200 clients with my first agency and then 0 to 22K a month in 5 weeks with my second agency, so you can do the same. And if you want more support, I have a free Discord where I do coaching calls, there's free courses, and there's literally everything that you could need and then some to help you scale an agency 100% free. And there's like 1,500 people in there right now. You can check that out, link in description. Other than that, I'm counting on you subscribing on me, and because of that, I will see you in the next video, and I cannot wait to share my next tip.